My name is Claudia. A lot of you guys already know me. Welcome back for everybody that has been here, that follows us every other week, and that is here to learn about today's content. I wanted to go over first about self-directing IRAs and what a self-directed IRA is before I introduce our special guests. Will information be shared after the presentation? Yes, Joseph. So we send out an email with all of our content about 24 hours after our presentation. And we also have a YouTube channel, and it's Greg Ferlean's YouTube channel. And we have all of our presentations on there as well. So any content that we have done, we've been doing this for almost 2 years. Any content that we have done is on that YouTube channel. And we have bi-weekly webinars. So you can go ahead and find us on there. Horizon Trust is a self-directed IRA passive custodian. So we are not tax advisors, and we don't offer any kind of investment advice. But what we've been able to do is we've been able to go ahead and give you guys options so that you can make an educated decision and make sure that you guys are investing in what you are comfortable with and what you like. And any alternative investment is what we are here to talk about. So we do anything from real estate to crypto to precious metals. Depends on what you're looking to go ahead and get into. That's what we're here to educate you on and make sure that you have the best available options to invest in. Who qualifies for a self-directed IRA or 401k? So this is something that we are really good at. We will be able to look at any custodian statements from your previous custodian and determine if that account is able to get transferred over to an account like ours. So we take anybody that has an IRA. It can be a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, SEP IRA, simple IRA, any kind of IRA that you have with a previous custodian. So a lot of our custodians are like Fidelity, Merrill Lynch, any of our traditional custodians that hold these kind of accounts. We'll go ahead and transfer it over to a qualified account here at Horizon Trust, and that's how you can start investing into a self-directed IRA account. Anybody with an old 401k, what that means is that it has to be from a previous employer. So if you worked for Walmart for 20 years and now you're not working for them anymore, you typically have a 401k where you invested into some of your paycheck into that 401k. We can go ahead and take that old 401k and transfer it over either to a traditional IRA here, or if you're still a business owner and you have your own business that you're running, you can go ahead and set it up with a 401k here at Horizon Trust. So we will make that determination with you. We'll go ahead and go over what you have previously and what your best option is here at Horizon Trust. And then we'll go ahead and set up an account for you so that you can transfer those funds over. A 403B, 457, TSP, those are all government employee accounts of people that don't work for the government anymore. Self-directed asset options are anything that is alternative. So anything that is not in the stock market or bonds, like a normal Merrill Lynch or a Fidelity account, that's what we are here to help you with. So we have a lot of clients that are in the real estate sector. That's our special guest is going to be talking to you guys about real estate and how he has been able to help his clients turn their portfolios from not knowing what to invest in to having this great platform where they can go ahead and talk to each other and basically network with each other to make sure that they can go ahead and make the best investments for their portfolio. You can also invest into LLCs, private equity, all of these options. And these are options that you will be able to talk to one of our IRA specialists about. They will go over what you are interested in. We don't give any investment advice. So you do have to have an investment either identified or a type of investment. So you don't have to be like, oh, I want to invest into this property. You just have to say, hey, I want to invest into real estate. And then we'll go over other options that other clients have done in the past. And we'll be able to give you some options that other people have done, which is why we have these webinars and we kind of offer this content so you can make the best educated decision for your scenario. there are some disqualified people that you cannot invest with, and that's anybody in your linear heritage. So your mom, your dad, your grandfather, grandparents, kids, grandkids, in that part of investing. So anybody that is in your sister, your brother, your cousin, your friends, your partners, all of those, you can go ahead and invest with these type of accounts. But anybody in your linear heritage, you can. And we'll be able to give you something like this so you can go ahead and make that educated decision. And if you have any questions, you can always call one of our representatives and they'll be able to go over if that's a prohibited transaction or if that is okay for you to do within your IRA. Teaming up with syndications. So this is just an example of how you can go ahead and team up with other people and do a syndication deal or do a real estate deal, so that you can go ahead and put monies together. A lot of our clients, what they do is they invest into real estate funds, syndication deals. They invest with 4 or 5 partners that their IRAs put together, and then they go ahead and do the investment from that basically pool of funds, and then the profits go back into the IRA and the percentage that it came in. And so if everybody's investing 20% of their IRA, then the profits go back in that percentage. So this is just an example of what you can do with your IRA, and this is something that Chris Naugle will be able to go over a little bit more with his presentation as well. How to use this self-directed IRA and how to get started. So it's super easy to go ahead and get an IRA started with us. What you would do is you would just go ahead and set up an appointment with one of our IRA specialists. We'll be able to go over what kind of account you have with your previous custodian. We will open the account, and that takes between 24 to 48 hours. And then we'll go ahead and get you on the phone with a liquidation specialist that can go over they will call your previous custodian and make sure that they transfer the funds over from the previous custodian. And then at that point, we can go ahead and have those allocated to your IRA here at Horizon Trust. And then you can start making your investment. So typically it's going to take between 10 to 15 business days, super fast, and we'll go ahead and get you started right away and make sure that you have those funds so that you can do investments right away. And if you already have an investment that is identified, then it's even easier because we will go ahead and get you with an investment walkthrough specialist that can go over that investment with you, make sure we have all the supporting documentation at the same time that you're transferring the funds, so that when the funds are here, they'll already be ready to go ahead and get invested, and all the paperwork will be done. And now I am going to, because we're a little behind schedule because we were a little late. I am going to go ahead and pass it over. I'm going to have Chris Naugle and Stephen join me so that they can go ahead and get started on their end. And we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. So Jacob, it looks like in syndications, if I want to do IRA, can others invest with their personal funds that mix and match as possible? The answer is yes. It just cannot be anybody in your disqualified tree. So it can't be anybody in your linear heritage. So that's just something to be aware of. But yes, you can go ahead and put personal funds, and not your personal funds, others people's personal funds and IRA funds. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hey, Claudia, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us today. So Stephen is a part of the Chris Naugle network, and I will let him introduce himself. But Stephen and I have been working together for 5 years almost.
Yeah, probably a
Um,
little longer than that at this point. Yeah.
yeah, it has been a little longer, and he is here to present one of the investment corner options that we have for all of our clients. As you guys are all aware, we're very keen on getting content out to you guys so that you guys can make your own decisions. So if you go to our investment corner, you'll be able to see options that other clients have done and have been successful with. One of the options is the private money club, which I love the concept and I love how it looks and how it has developed in the last, 3-4 years.
Yep.
So we wanted to go ahead and invite Stephen and his team so that they can go over what that is, and we will answer questions after that.
All right. Awesome, Claudia. Well, listen, I'm super, super excited to be here right now to introduce this opportunity. It's something that we've been working on for years and it's come to fruition and super excited to launch it to this group right now and what we're doing with this partnership. I think it's really, really cool. Looking back in the future, I was an ex-financial advisor telling people, let me control your money and just learn, hey, for people to really be successful in life, you need to have control. You need to be able to know what you're doing, have the strategy, grow your wealth the way that the wealthy do. And that's exactly what we do with becoming your own bank and the private money club. So, when I first met Greg Hurley, the founder of Horizon Trust Company, I helped him a lot with business development and really growing Horizon Trust. So, a lot of you that have accounts, maybe I've met you in the past at different events and things like that. I love self-directed IRAs because you can control your wealth, control what your future looks like. But the challenge I always had doing business development and helping grow Horizon Trust at the time was everybody got excited about self-directing their money and being able to control their retirement accounts, their old 401ks, everything else, tax advantage. But nobody had an easy way to really move that money, to be able to take that money from the self-directed IRA, put it into something and allow for that consistent, solid growth, just like banks do. And we could talk a little bit about that today as well. So what I'm super excited about was the fact that Greg introduced me to Chris Naugle. Chris Naugle, perfect timing. Do any of you on here right now believe that things happen for a reason? I'm a big believer in that. I think that every single one of you here right now are here for a reason at this moment in time. And when Greg introduced me to Chris Naugle, it was one of those moments in time where the stars just aligned because Naugle and I sat down when we first met at a bar, and Chris starts writing out on a bar, a napkin at a bar stool. You know what I mean? They always say the greatest ideas start, either on a golf course or a bar. And this would have been a bar. But anyways, we have a good time. So Chris starts drawing out this idea for what now has become Private Money Club, which is the number one community in the country for connecting real estate borrowers, real estate investors with people that have money, private money lenders, people like you that have self-directed IRAs that are looking to move that money, but they want to do so with it being protected, with it being safe. Things like using mortgages and deeds of trust, just like banks use, and we'll talk about that a little bit today. But that's exactly what happened. Is I met Chris Naugle. We said, all right, and I said, listen, all these people with self-directed IRAs, this is like the perfect thing for them to be able to utilize. And Private Money Club over the last several years has grown, it's evolved, and it's a point now where we have thousands of members on there doing transactions every single day, hundreds of $1 million a year being lent through there. So it's like this is the perfect time for every single one of you right now to be able to get involved with this. And we've created a really, really cool opportunity for all of you that have Horizon Trust IRAs that I think we're keeping a secret, right, Claudia, for just a minute more, but we're gonna explain that here in just a second. But with that being said, I did want to introduce you all to the founder of Private Money Club, one of the hardest working partners I've ever worked with in my life, Mr. Chris Naugle. If you want to come on over from backstage and we'll dive into what you founded, what we've been able to create over the years, and what we have this opportunity that's on right now today.
Awesome. I'm so thrilled to be here. Thanks, Stephen. That was a great intro. And I love that you mentioned the napkin at that bar. I remember that vividly. We were in LA and, at that time I was out speaking on real estate. So, I don't want to go into my story too much because I waste too much time, but like Stephen, I was a financial advisor for 16 years, the traditional advisor, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all that good stuff, managed hundreds of millions of dollars of 401k funds. And, the funny thing is we always recommended, just the traditional investments. And I'll never forget it. You had mentioned Greg, but I was at a seminar, a giant seminar out in Las Vegas, in the front row with my wife, and Greg Hurley gets on the stage, and all I remember is, he gets up there, he's talking about Horizon Trust and how he's the founder and how he created this, but he said these words. Now, I'm a real estate investor transitioning from Wall Street to Main Street and starting to really kind of get my teeth sunk into this real estate thing, and Greg says this. He says, the ultimate in real estate is being the bank. Now let that sink in. The ultimate in real estate is being the bank. At this time, I'm flipping houses. I'm trying to get some rentals. We're trying to learn the landscape of real estate. And this superstar on this stage of this giant event says the ultimate is being the bank. I had no concept of what that meant, but all I understood is all I got to do is go out and make millions of dollars flipping houses, and then I can be like Greg and be the bank. Kind of like, I want to be like Mike. Well, I wanted to be like Greg. Fast forward to that moment where Stephen and I are at that bar with that napkin. How this all transpired is I had done a lot of flips. So me and my wife did 274 flips. We had a show on HGTV called Risky Builders back in 2018. That was when I left Wall Street and I was doing real estate full time. And at that time, when I had seen Greg, I was in the process of selling off a lot of my real estate. So I had money. And I remembered what Greg said, I got to be the bank. So all I started doing is I said, all right, I want to lend money. And I had set up a self-directed IRA with Horizon Trust back in 2014. I'm dating myself a little bit, but that's how long ago it was. So I started lending money, and I found it very difficult to find good borrowers. Now, remember, I did 274 flips and lots of rentals, but I had borrowed money from banks, from hard money lenders, from private lenders. So I was always on the receiving end, the borrower side of it. And I remember on every transaction, almost every deal I did, I felt like the borrower always made more money. So it started to make sense that Greg said the ultimate is being the bank, because the banker always made all the money. Thou with the gold sets the rules. So because I had money now and I started lending money out, the way I would do it is I would go to RIAs, I'd go on Facebook and I would do posts. Any way I could, I'm just trying to put it out there. Hey, I want to be a lender. I want to be the bank. Does anyone need money? And how people would respond blew my mind. They would literally respond in an email or in a message saying, hey, will you lend on this? And they give me an address. And I'm just thinking, what do you want me to do with this? Like, you want me to do all the underwriting? You want me to do all the work? Like, you gave me an address? Like, give me a full proposal. Give me something that you would give to a bank, just like a bank. That didn't exist. So I started toying around with this idea. There's got to be a place. I mean, in today's world, there's got to be a place that brings together the only two people that exist in the world. And those are people with money and people that need money. Think about it. Are there really anyone other than those two people? There are people that need or that have money, and there are people that need money. Now, both of those two different groups have a problem that they need solved. I've met lots of people that have lots of money, and you know what? They always have one problem. They want to make more. So I identified the problem with the people that had the money were that they wanted to make more. And those people were people with self-directed IRAs, people that had cash value life insurance, money in the bank, old 401ks that they were rolling over. Any source of money, they wanted to make more money. So let's go to the other side. And in a second, I'm going to show you that little thing that I drew for Stephen. The other side are people that needed money, the borrowers, the person like I used to be. Their problem is they need money to make more money. So check this out. This is what it looked like. Before PMC was even a thing, this is what I drew on a piece of paper for Stephen. I said, Stephen, there's only two types of people in the world. On this side, the haves, the people that have money. And on this side are the people that need money to make money. Okay, so they need it in order to make money. I said, why isn't there a place, kind of like a dating site? Because, you know, I've seen dating sites, and some of you maybe are familiar with Tinder or other dating sites. It's simple, right? Guys come on, girls come on, they put profiles up, they tell everybody what they want, and then the site provides the mechanisms to communicate, to connect, and then, hey, they go off, they have a date, maybe they get engaged, get married, have kids, all that good stuff. I said, why isn't there a dating site for money that brings the people with money together with the people that need money, providing some education, some tools and resources, and one community, just like a dating site? This is what I drew on a piece of paper. And I said, Stephen, I'm going to create a revolutionary software, a technology that brings these two groups of people together so that lenders, people with money, can meet people that need money for real estate deals. Because at that time, real estate was what I knew, liked, and understood. So I said, let's start there. It's a tangible asset. You can be in a first position, a second position. There's so many different ways you can do it. And I said, the only thing that has to happen is we got to provide education, community, and a pathway. That is what we created. Now, this was created, we were just talking earlier this morning, almost 4 years ago. It's crazy how fast time went by. It started, and this is going to kind of be surprising to some of you, on Slack. We literally started using Slack where we would post deals, and surprisingly, it worked. And in the beginning, how it worked is I had clients from the advisory, clients from my other company, BYOB, which is Be Your Own Bank. And what I would do is I would have these people tell me, how much money are you looking to lend? So I'd write a name on a little Post-it, and I'd write a phone number, and I'd write, all right, this person's got 100,000 in a self-directed. This person's got 50,000 in cash value. This person's got 25 grand. And I had these little Post-its across my desk. And then on Slack, we would allow people to post their deals, and then it would bring them together, and I would just notify these people. I'm like, hey, a deal just got put up on Slack, and they're looking for 100 grand. This might be a good fit. That evolved into the first website, which was a train wreck, but it worked. That was the funny thing. We were proving concept, and it worked. And then we went to the second gen of the website, and that worked really well. And that brings me up to where we're at now. As Stephen mentioned, this is the largest real estate lending community, but let me preface, private lending. On Private Money Club, we do not allow institutions. There are no banks, there are no institutional hard money lenders, and we do our best to keep brokers out. So who exists next? All of you. People just like me, Claudia, Stephen, Brandy, Greg. People have self-directed IRAs. People that want their money to work for them. People that want to make their money work. And they want to do it through lending, by being the bank. So what I thought we would do today, now that we've got through the little, subtleties and kind of the original origins, is I thought I would just show you what we've created, which is, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but we've created something remarkable. And I've always asked myself, how come no one else did this? I remember saying that to Stephen and my other executives. I said, why hasn't this been done? It seems so simple, like somebody should have created this. Well, others have tried, but all the others, one problem that they all had is they had lots of people that needed money and very little people that had money. See, where we started having the company with thousands of clients for the infinite banking concepts in BYOB, we had thousands of people that had money. And then knowing people like Greg and Claudia and Horizon Trust, that we now had thousands more of people that had money sitting in these self-directed IRAs, these self-directed 401ks, and they all wanted to find a way to make more money on that money. So we started with the money. And then we just went out and said, hey, borrowers, guess what? Over here, we got this cool community, a dating site for money where people with money meet people that need money. You want to join? It's free. So they would come on and they would post their deals on there. And then we started evolving and creating this thing. And you know what? I'm just going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what we've created. And as of today, right here, right now, there are 8,764 members in PMC. And that opportunity that we told you we were going to have for all of you, we'll get into that in just a second, but that opportunity is going to give you all a VIP ticket into Private Money Club. Literally. For some of you, this is going to be one of the easiest. You ever remember that Staples commercial with the easy button? This is the easy button. So when you first come in, all you do is you're just going to go in, you're just going to create a profile. I'm sure all you know how to do this. You all have Facebook, Instagram, maybe some of you have TikTok. You went on, you created a profile. That's it. You tell people who you are. You tell people what you're looking to do. Up here, you'll notice there's some little icons, okay? So a Premier member is a paying member. They have lots more available to them. They have a lot more storage. They have a lot more resources, notifications. I'm not going to get into all the things, but tons more stuff for Premier members. Then there's certified lenders and certified borrowers, a higher level of education. So in here, it's a self-rating system. So if somebody messes up, if a borrower comes on, tries screwing somebody, tries paying late, it's self-policing, just like Uber. You'll go in and you'll post a negative review for that person. You'll tell people why to avoid them, what to be careful of. So the site has been very good, even with 8,700 members, about self-policing itself. Down here, you got a dashboard, you got all your deals, your network, your courses you've done, everything. But over here, all it does gives you the ability to tell people, who are you? What are you looking to do? So when you've all come into Private Money Club, folks, definitely put a photo up. Nobody wants to deal with a faceless person, okay? They want to deal with somebody that they can trust, somebody that they can see, somebody that they can relate with. So this is where you start. And then the second place it starts is you come over here into what we call the community. This is kind of like a bulletin board. That's really all it is. People can post anything they want. When you first come in, you're automatically enrolled into one of the groups. Now there are groups, think Facebook groups, lots and lots and lots of groups. I mean, you could just go into them all, but I'll show them to you in a second. But in this group right here, the Introduce Yourself just gives you the ability to tell everybody who you are. Like here's Rashad, he's an ex-NBA player. He's doing tiny home developments. So he's here showing people how he's doing that in his office. This is Mr. Steven that you just heard talking about. He does a thing called Money Club Monday. This is for Premier members only, but Money Club Monday is every Monday we do a webinar, and people that have deals get to present their deals to all the people who have money. It's basically kind of, I don't want to call it an auction, but it's kind of just a place where people can present their deal, present the opportunity. And then you'll go through and you'll see all sorts of different opportunities. But this is just where you would come to post whatever you want to kind of gauge interest, to get people to start talking to you. Another easy way you could do it is you could go in and you could say, all right, well, I'm looking for multifamilies. I'm looking for syndications. I'm looking for, whatever it is you want, mobile home parks. That's what I want to lend on. Well, you can go in and you can create your own group. So here, mobile home investors, okay? This is Christy, so a rock star in the mobile home community. You might be into asset protection. There's all sorts of different groups. And if you just want to look for them, you just go in and find groups, and you might say multifamily. You just type in, what is it you're looking for? Well, I'm looking for multi, if I can spell right. And it will pull up whatever you're looking for when you type it in, and you are more specific than just writing that. But all these different deals and all these different people create, and they're all called key holders, they create these groups. But let's just say you just want to browse. Who is in PMC? You come over here to go to members, and well, there you go. You just start scrolling through 8,700 of them. But how it's going to organize them is it's going to organize the Premier members first, because these are the ones that have been playing ball. These are the ones that are in there. These are the paying members that are serious investors. And then if they're a certified lender or certified borrower, well, they have additional education. So it ranks them higher, but you can go in and you can just look at anyone's profile, see what they're about. Like Carl, I wonder what Carl's all about. You can come in here, U.S. Army professional. All right, thank you for your service. You can come down. You can see his different deals he's posted. He's a certified borrower, and you can kind of learn about him. And also his ratings, nope, no ratings. So he's obviously not done anything wrong, because otherwise people would have certainly called him out. Let me show you my favorite part. And this is the part we've spent the most amount of time. This is the deals page. So this is kind of just your menu. You go on here, I don't know what you're looking for, but what I do is I set my notifications to tell the system exactly what it is I'm looking to lend on, because I'm a lender. Okay, I used to be a borrower, and today I'm the bank, I'm the lender. So the system is built, and I went in and put my notifications. So here you go. You can edit your preferences, tell the system exactly what you're looking for, and then every day when a new deal comes up that matches, here it is. So this deal matches your filters. Great. Well, wonder what this deal looks like. So you come in here. All right, right there. Set it up and make money, slow flip. $30,000 is what they're looking for, 12% interest over 60 months, and the deal has 28 days left. I could say, I'm interested in the deal, and I could say, hey, Kelly, I'm interested, and I could say, I need you to send me your personal financial statement. I need you to send me your deal kit. I'm looking for comps. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. You build your criteria. You could even save it and have a template so that you just post the same thing every single time. And then you can go down, you can just read about the deal. So here's all the information about the deal. And a lot of times what different borrowers will do is they'll post all the documents like this person did. Look at this. They got tax maps. They got a lending proposal, which you can download. And when you download it, I'm giving you a little bit too much, but this lending proposal, this is what I was always looking for. I don't want to do the borrower's work, nor does a bank. And if I'm going to be like a bank as a lender, I want as much information put in front of me so I can make an accurate decision, or have enough to then say, hey, I need to see this, I need to see that. And that's what these sheets are. So I'm not going to go through all this, but you can see there's comps, there's all sorts of stuff, but that's just one particular example. Whoops, I stopped sharing. Let me go back into that. I hit the wrong button. All right, so where am I here? There we go. Back over here to this. Then you got a blog, you got resources. So this is that perfect loan proposal, property spec sheets. If you're a borrower, these would be really entertaining and really good, because people are always saying, well, what is a personal financial statement? Well, here it is. Download it. It's free. Okay, courses. If you wanted to learn more, you want to learn about contract law. Why not, right? Who doesn't want to learn about contract law? Just kidding. Maybe you want to be a certified lender. Maybe you want to be a certified borrower. Well, as a Premier member, when you come in, and again, this is the VIP offer we're going to talk about. I keep mentioning Premier because this is where you want to be. You're going to be given points. So if any of you have ever used the Starbucks app, you're very familiar with this. This should be just like going through the Starbucks line. You got your little app. you preload your money into it, and then you buy coffees and you're rewarded, right? You buy enough coffees and you get a free one. Maybe you get this, maybe you get a free donut, or what do they call those little lollipop things that my 5-year-old loves? But anyway, you're given these points, and you can go in and you can use these points to buy whatever education or whatever you want in the site. And that would all be in the courses and resources page. We do events, lots of them. Stephen does Money Club Monday every Monday. Like I said, that's where people present their deals. We do a quick start webinar every single Thursday at 1 o'clock. Noah, who is Christy, that mobile home post that you saw, that's his wife. He does a training every single Thursday called Quick Start. It gives you all the things for lenders and borrowers on how to protect yourself, how to post a good deal, how to be a good borrower, how to be a good lender, the things to look for to protect yourself, all the little things that would make you in a better, safer position with lending. He's going to teach you on those. And all of those are completely free. You just show up. The Money Club Monday, again, is only for Premier members, but that's not going to be a problem for any of you here. So anyway, and then down here, you're going to have this, which is going to be partners, other resources, title companies, real estate attorneys, all the things you need to be successful at lending or borrowing. But nonetheless, let me stop sharing. This is what we've created. This is called Private Money Club, and it is literally changing the way that real estate deals are getting funded. And eventually, someday, we're gonna be knocking on the bank's door saying, hey, why aren't you guys doing your jobs? Because we're taking all your business. Just kidding. But Stephen, what else would you like to add to Private Money Club and how it would serve this community here with Horizon Trust?
Yeah, I mean, just a great way to kind of look at it is, if you're looking towards retirement, I can just give you a real quick kind of example of how you can do this in about 30 seconds to kind of bring it all home here. Again, the challenge in the past has always been, where do you go find these deals? Where do you build these relationships? How do I do this the safe way, the right way, use the right documentation? And through the education, through the support, the offerings of Private Money Club, especially as a premier member, we brought that all into one location for you. So now the question just becomes, are you ready to do that? Are you ready to take it to the next level? So let me show you, just a real quick example of what that can look like for you. So this is an example we've used for a long time. It's a real life case study from a few years back called the Bank of C&M Jones, but it's all about creating consistent, predictable income for the rest of your life, and not riding that volatility of the stock market, or hey, I'm getting ready to retire, the stock market's at all-time highs. Well, what if there's a pullback in my first or second year of retirement? Am I going to be able to still survive? And all the unfortunate things that people go through in life, and this kind of helps kind of get that out of the way and create that consistent, peaceful, as I like to say, retirement for people. And so it's a cool little case study, very simple. Charles and Mary Jones had a farm out in Idaho. That's what they had done full-time their lives. They worked full-time, they ran their farm, they enjoyed their life. 55 and 53 years old when we first got involved with them. They had 10 years till they planned to retire. They only had $350,000 in their retirement accounts. Now, here's the kicker is they did not want to become professional investors. They did not want to become full-time real estate investors or start a second business. They wanted to keep doing what they had been doing. They just wanted to be smarter with their money to allow them to be able to retire the way that they wanted to. And so we showed them a way to be able to accomplish that without an active role in doing all of this, just by spending a little bit of time evaluating deals and getting their money moving. And now with Private Money Club, this process has just become 10 times easier. So just to show you what it looks like, they became the bank. They started using what are called mortgages or deeds of trust, which are just legal documents that protect your money, just like a bank does. If you've ever bought a home, you get a mortgage, there's a first position lien on that property, where if you don't make that mortgage payment, the bank takes that property. The exact same thing is done with private money lending. So just to give you a real basic idea of what's involved in those documents, you're going to have the terms of the deal. So what's the loan amount? What's the interest rate? Are there any points involved? What is the collateral? So that's all in paper, agreed upon at the beginning. It's negotiable between the borrower and the lender. And again, this stuff, if you're new to this, it might sound complicated or sound like a lot, but I've done it now with hundreds of our students and clients over the last several years. Once they go through our training, they learn a little bit, they do their first deal with our support, they're ready to go off and do it over and over and over again. It becomes very simple. And so don't worry about that part. But this is just the basics of it. We use these documents along with a promissory note, and everything is done just like a bank would do. And so they negotiated on these deals. What they decided to do is start doing private money lending on first position real estate backed deals. So they started with $350,000. They decided at the time they were going to continue to contribute to their self-directed IRAs. At the time, they were able to contribute $6,500 each annually into that. So they said we're going to put $13,000 a year combined into our IRAs. They know they had 10 years until they wanted to retire, and they decided that they were happy lending money at 9%. Now, if you just paid attention to the little demo Chris did on the deals section, you'll see a lot of deals on Private Money Club today, 12 to 15 to 18 plus percent. Oh, I see it all day, every day. So the returns are, again, whatever you negotiate, you are in complete control as the private money lender. But in this scenario, Charles and Mary Jones decided to lend out at 9%. So we did the math over the course of the 10 years, lending out their principal along with continuing to contribute 13,000 a year into the IRA and the 9% growth that they had on their money. They were able over those 10 years to grow that principal amount in their retirement accounts to just over $1 million. And then they got to retirement, okay, 10 years later, and they said, okay, we now have a little over $1 million in our retirement accounts. We have two options. A, we can start withdrawing that $1 million and we can start living off of that money and using it until we deplete it all down to zero. Or what they decided to do, which most people do because it's very simple. Once you've done private money lending once, like I said, it becomes easy. So imagine what that looks like over the course of 10 years. So what they decided to do was take their $1 million, continue to lend it out at 9%. Now, here's the thing. When you do a direct lending deal, most of these are going to pay what's called interest-only monthly payments. Just like you pay your mortgage, you pay the bank monthly. These are done the same way. So what they did is they said, okay, well, if we lend out our $1 million at 9%, that's going to create a $92,000 annual income for us, and it comes into us at about $7,700 a month. So they now know that they can live their retirement with $7,700 a month from this source of their funds without ever touching that $1 million principal, and now they know exactly what's going on. So it's just a real quick example, Chris, of kind of, and Claudia, of what that looks like using a self-directed IRA from 10 years prior, moving into retirement and having complete control, protecting your money every step along the way.
I love that example. That's an example we've done a lot of times, but like it just really sums up the whole reason why being the bank and why putting your money to work really is the effective way for consistent, predictable income. I love that. Thanks, Stephen.
Absolutely. So now, Chris, I mean, I think what we could do is kind of talk a little bit about what we're able to do for everybody that's on here that has the Horizon Trust self-directed accounts, how they can take advantage. Unless there's somewhere else you wanted to go first.
No, I mean, I think let's tell everybody what we're giving them and what we have for them, and then we'll answer questions.
Go ahead, Claudia.
Yeah, for anybody that has a Horizon Trust account, so Greg wasn't able to be on this call. He's actually on a flight over to Hawaii. So he wanted everybody that it does have a Horizon Trust account to email him directly because we have a special offer for all of our Horizon Trust accounts that he wants to personally tell you on the email. It depends on if you have an account. If you don't have an account, you still get an offer so that you can go ahead and take advantage of what the program is, but you still have to go through the process of getting your IRA account here with Horizon Trust first, and then we'll go ahead and send the information over to the Private Money Club as long as you're still interested in doing that. So I know that there are a couple of people that are already part of your community here, which is awesome, and they are very happy with it. So we wanted to go ahead and yeah, there's the email for Greg, and we want to go ahead and get you guys to email him directly. Any of our existing clients that want to go ahead and get on the Private Money Club, just go ahead and email Greg Herline directly, and we will go ahead and get you over to that, and we'll get you the offer that we have. So did you guys want to go over anything else, or do you want to answer questions? How would you like to?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to Private Money Club, I just wanted to kind of clarify what that looks like. And so on Private Money Club, what we like to say is there's a free membership and then there's what's called a premier membership. And we like to say free gets you in the door, premier gets you funded and gets you access to so much more as far as education. So if I could just spend a few minutes highlighting what premier members receive, because I'll give you a little hint. It's going to be involved with what exactly this special offer from Greg is. Is that fair to say, Claudia? I guess I don't
Absolutely,
want to
yes.
give away everything. Is that what we're doing here?
Let's do that, yes.
So we'll keep it a little bit of a secret, but I just want to kind of hint out there, what that looks like. So when we look at Private Money Club, the community. So you're going to receive access to a bunch of additional things when it comes to being a premier member, especially as a lender. So first off, when you join as a premier member, you're going to have exclusive access to a monthly 2-hour mastermind premier member only call that we do via Zoom. And the cool thing about this 2-hour monthly call is it's for premier members only, so people that are serious about private money lending and borrowing, but it's a mastermind where everybody gets together once a month and talks about what's working for them, what kind of deals are they lending on, if things are going wrong, how can they fix that, the whole gambit. And it gives everyone a platform to be able to talk. And the cool thing about this Zoom calls, it's done via Zoom, but unlike today where I can only see Chris, Claudia, myself, and I can't see any of you, the difference with our 2-hour mastermind once a month is everybody's on video, everybody's on audio, so we can all talk and interact and truly mastermind together. Claudia, I know Greg spends a lot of time attending live in-person masterminds. Chris and I do the exact same thing. And what we've done is we've taken that kind of in-person mastermind feel and brought it virtual. So none of us have to travel, but we still get that value out of it. We also, as Chris mentioned, we do a weekly Money Club Monday call, which has become the place to be every single Monday for private money lenders, because the borrowers, the premier borrowers, are allowed to present deals each and every single week. So if you look at your self-directed IRA and you say, hey, I have $20,000 sitting here, I have $200,000 sitting in there, whatever the case is, you hop on Money Club Mondays. Well, of course, you browse through the platform on Private Money Club, but you might have questions. You might want to actually learn who the person is. You come on Money Club Monday and you actually get to see that person. You can ask them questions. It's just like this, where they're on video, they're presenting, they're answering, they're right there talking with you, building that relationship. So as a premier member, you can access that each and every week to come find out new deals. You also receive exclusive access to different discounts and events that we do throughout the year, which is very, very cool. We give you first dibs whenever we launch something new. We let you test things out, things of that nature. In addition to that, Chris mentioned the certifications. So when you join Private Money Club, if you're looking to do business with somebody, what I found is most people on there only want to do business with other premier members, because let's face it, if you're doing something for free, most people are not serious about it. They might be wanting to maybe stick a toe in the water, or, hey, I'm just kind of seeing what's going on out there, things like that, following along. But when you're serious, you're going to invest in yourself, invest in your business, and invest in your future. And that's exactly what these certifications accomplish with this premier membership. Because now when you're on the site messaging people, private messaging people, you're interacting on the community forum, you're joining premier member exclusive groups within the community forum. But now when you're on there, people see, oh, this is a premier member. This is somebody that takes this serious. Oh, they've gone through the lender certification program. So what we do with a premier membership is we actually give you a certain amount of points that allow you to purchase those certification courses. So now, included with your premier membership, you go through the certification courses, you take the little quiz at the end, and now you're a certified lender. So now when a borrower is looking at borrowing money from somebody, they look at two people: somebody that's free that might have made a couple posts, or somebody that's a premier member that has been through the certification. Well, me as a borrower, I know you're educated, you've been certified, you've been through, you know what you're doing. I'm going to want to work with you, because it's less work on my part. Because somebody that's free, usually, I'm going to have to teach them everything. They're going to ask a million questions. No, I want to work with somebody that's experienced. So it kind of gives you that leg up, puts you on that platform and that portfolio. We also have all those tools that Chris shows. Those are all exclusive for Premier members only. So there's so many advantages and reasons to become a Premier member. And again, since Greg's on an airplane, I'll let Greg kind of share what we're doing for all you guys. But trust me, if you do not have a self-directed Horizon account yet, get that call scheduled, get on the calendar with Brandy or somebody on the team to help explain to you how you can get set up with a self-directed IRA. If you have an old 401k, Charles Schwab IRA, Roths, whatever the case is, they will explain to you, educated way of explaining to you exactly how to move that over to Horizon Trust. Remember, no fees involved as far as like taxes or IRS or penalties or anything like that. We're just moving it from one place to another. And now you could take full advantage of Private Money Club. And if you're already a Private Money Club or you're already a Horizon Trust self-directed IRA holder, you have an account with Horizon Trust. I believe they're going to make a special offer to you guys too, right, Claudia? So you're going to want to either way definitely reach out to the team and get this rocking and rolling because you're not going to want to miss out on this. It's a really, really cool what we're doing together right now.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, and maybe we can do a follow-up webinar with just our clients so that we can go more in depth as to how, if you have $20,000, if you have $100,000, if you have $200,000, how it all works and how you guys connect each other. I saw when you were doing the demonstration, somebody had said, I have a self-directed IRA account and looking to use my funds. I thought that was really cool. So maybe you can teach them how to put their description so that they can be the first to be viewed and how they can go ahead and get those funds deployed. So I think that would be a really cool webinar and our clients would love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we would love to do that. And I love that you mentioned that. A lot of people, when they think about being a private lender, they're like, oh, I need a lot of money. Listen, we have private lenders on here on a consistent basis that are lending like $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. We see it almost on a daily basis. And then there's other lenders on here lending millions. So, it's literally a site that has something for just about anybody and everybody, depending on what their appetite is for private lending. And also, if you're a borrower and a lender, which we get that a lot of people have money in an old 401k, they become real estate investors, so they roll that into a self-directed IRA, and then they have deals that they're raising money for. So then they post their deal because they can't use their own self-directed IRA for their own deal. Well, they can, but obviously I've tried that. It didn't work so well. So I would recommend make sure you check out self-dealing rules. But nonetheless, you got to sometimes learn the hard way like I did. But you could be a borrower or a lender on the site. You could be both. You could lend and also borrow. That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of knowing how real estate works. Like, as long as you know how it works, you can go ahead and use it as both sides of the coin. So it just depends on what you're interested in and what you're working on at the moment. Or you can have two or three things working at once. So that's a really interesting thing. We don't have a lot of time for questions, but do you want to answer maybe if we have one or two questions that we can go over? We really do try to end right at the 1 hour mark. But if anybody has any questions that you guys are wanting either Stephen, me, or Chris to answer, we can go ahead and get one or two done.
Let's see.
The Banker's Code currently. Is that your book, Chris?
No, but it's a good book. Our book is called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. I mean, I have lots of books, Private Money Guide, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, The Companion. But yeah, that's a great book. Certainly a good book. Kevin's got a good question. Stephen, should we hit that one?
I've not seen it. Oh.
Here, I'll read it. These days, we are constantly seeing commercials about individuals having the title to their home stolen or compromised, where the crook then borrows the mortgage money and basically steals the funds and never makes a payment. Don't understand how this can happen with title insurance. Could someone be scammed through PMC? So, Kevin, the simplest way to answer that is if you're using a credible title company or a real estate attorney, which I always recommend, you should always be using a real estate attorney on your deals. I don't know how that could happen either. There are all sorts of scams out there, and I'm not going to sit here and say that PMC does not have some risky drivers that come on there, but they're sniffed out very quickly because of the self-policing. Remember, Private Money Club thrives by the members taking care of one another, because each member, either lender or borrower, are there to solve one another's problems. So they're very protective. I'll give you an example. On the 2-hour group coaching we just had last week, last week, we had somebody out there that was warning everybody of somebody who was posting deals and spamming, basically. They were going to every member and sending the same message. So basically, they kind of went on that person's profile, flagged them, and said, hey, prove that you're a real person and some other things. So the site does a really, really good job of self-policing. But I can't say that there isn't scammers that will come on PMC. We just haven't seen that because it's done such a good job of the self-policing and other members taking care of it. You do have to do your own due diligence, Kevin. So get a good real estate attorney, make sure you're using a credible title company, do title searches, make sure all your criteria are met, and you're going to reduce those risks and mitigate them, and have a much better experience. So I don't know how somebody could be scammed in the way you're saying if they're using a title company or an attorney. Stephen, anything you'd say on that?
No, 100%. You're spot on with that.
Okay, one last question. Roger is asking, what's the minimum money needed to be a part of PMC? That's a great question.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, is it really does range from, I mean, I've seen deals on there where people are borrowing as little as $5,000 on up to, I've seen people raising, up into the seven figures and everything in between. So very common in a first lien position. You're going to see people asking $20,000, $30,000 for a lower priced home, 50, 60,000. Sometimes you'll see people looking for 200,000, 300,000 where they're able to borrow from 3, 4 different lenders. So people 80 to 100. So really it's a very broad range. It boils down to your investing strategy, what your investing goals are and what that looks like. But there's really, honestly, something for everybody on PMC.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Like I said, let's go ahead and schedule one for our clients so that we can go over specific scenarios and how they strategize together and how they put deals together so that we can go ahead and have a more in-depth training. I think this was really good, and it took the whole hour, which means that there's still more content to go over. So let's go ahead and schedule that, and we will go ahead and send out the webinar link to everybody so that we can go ahead and have whoever's interested join us back in.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's lots more great content for you to learn and enjoy and apply to. And so anyways, click on the link below and listen to more videos or set an appointment with us. We look forward to hearing from you and also helping you.